Okay, welcome. Welcome to today's very late show. Uh, Today I'm gonna try and stream a little bit off the cuff about something that's been worrying me or that's been in my head for most of today's morning, and I wanted to address it. It's been on my head for a few days now, and it's this idea of friendship and activism spaces or activism and politics in general. Like there's been a little bit of discourse around it in my very close circles and things that have been around me, things that I've been watching lately, that refer to both like political parties or any other militant spaces. And I've been going back and forth with it. So I wanted to talk about it in a way that if we're dealing with politics and if we're dealing with activism and whatnot, if we should be friends with our comrades or just comrades, and that's about it. And what those relationships entail. I tried to have someone volunteers on chat today with me. I don't think anybody could make it. So it's gonna be just me anyway, trying to break this down at the best of my ability or some of my ability. I'm not gonna say best, because best is also relative, I would say. So anyway, I hope there's anybody in the chat. I don't think so. It's not many people today, but yeah, don't worry about it. So yeah, I try to, when I'm on activist spaces, try to be as friendly as possible. But there's also, the subject of parasocial relationships and whatnot, and sometimes you jump into an activist space and you try to and you try to you're they're thrown in with a bunch of people you don't know or you don't know so well. Hopefully some of them you know from before, but most of the time you're thrown into a working space with some people you don't know at all. Sometimes it's even like online, the organization, because you're working remotely with people from other countries or other cities or other places, that are far away. You cannot really do some militants like a proper assembly in person, and even more so now in the times of the pandemic and whatnot. It's very not very advisable to do that. So yeah, I would say it's a complicated subject, because on one hand, one likes to handle themselves as friendly as possible, and on the other hand, it's also understandable that some people don't want to be friends with everybody they meet, but they still want to say preserve their personal space and their personal life separate from activism. So it's a tough and complicated and not so good subject to talk about. It's tricky, let's say. So I'd like to, try and tackle it. And I've been, trying to figure it out, right? When you search for articles online about the subject. Let me show you more or less what I'm talking about. And you go and search for articles about the subject online. Go like a free friendship in activist spaces. And you get like articles or let's say sentences like friendship as social justice activism, like could be related to the fact that let's open it. and could be related to the fact, that friendship. Okay, it's a book actually. Friendship as social justice activism brings together academics and activists to have essential conversation about friendship, love, and desire as kinetics for social justice movements. So I don't know if it's very, very related to the subject that we're trying to deal with right now. And second article, in the list is Are American Friendships Superficial? Which is, okay, whatever. And in friendship, the Martin Luther King Jr. research. I don't know what this is. Let's check it out. That, yeah. 5th January 1956, 1 month after that, started Montgomery bus boycott. New York-based Friendship was formed to direct economic aid to South's growing civil rights struggle. So, yeah, this doesn't really tackle the matter. Friendships that don't survive politics. This Huffington Post. I'm not even gonna bother. Importance of friendship in different cultures. This could be actually relevant, considering that different cultures have different, approaches to boundaries and let's see, friendship in different cultures. When I ask my Spanish friend if it's better to have $100 in the wallet or 100 friends in life, he, without a second hesitations, choose the $100. In the post-Soviet countries, this dilemma is not a dilemma at all. There is an old saying in Russian: instead of having 100 rubles, better have 100 friends. And that is true. I'd go for the Russian model, and I'm a Spaniard, so I don't know who this person's friends are, but there's apparent difference of opinion about the importance of friendship, and I don't think it's country related as much as ideology related. Maybe, I don't know. We'll figure it out. The importance of friendship in post-Soviet cultures, different types of friendship. I'm gonna just skim through it. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, just to get a feel of what's out there regarding this subject. Okay, but it's true. The different cultures value friendship in different manners. Even the definition of friendship, it could be let's say, I'm gonna save it here for later. It could be relative. Unlikely political friendships and alliances which have nothing to do. Friendships with people with intellectual disabilities, that could be very interesting. I'm gonna save for later. I don't think it's relevant to the subject, but I'd like to read about it for sure. 10 of the most unlikely historical friendships, yada yada. So, it's like, if you search for the typical sentence, like, I'm not in politics to make friends. And I know it's a delicate subject matter. That's why I wanted to have like more voices in here. But I always ask for volunteers. I don't nag people, come on my show and whatever, and people don't care really. So I think I'm a victim to the apathy in general of people not giving a fuck, which is, the general mood in the world right now. But yeah, I'm not in politics to make friends, and I'm not here to make friends. Scott Atlas slaps at something. MSM, that seems like gossip bullshit. Yeah. Anyway, bullshit, Huffington Post, yada yada. Don't lose friendships over politics. And it's like, fuck you. Don't lose friendships over politics. No, if your friend is a bigot, it's a shitty friend, But whatever, I mean, you gotta understand that most people, fall into bigotry because of denial and being desperate and stuff, and it's very different, being an active bigot than being associated with the bigoted ideas because of the media and the pressure and the isolation that we're all, subjected to. So who knows? To talk about politics with friends, yeah, but it's not, it doesn't tackle the thing, not that I've seen. So I don't know. There's not like a lot of literature about it in a first glance, But I kind of wanted to talk about the two positions of I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to get some stuff done. And you go like, yeah, absolutely. But if you're in a leftist space, how much is that, coherent with the leftist position, right? Like, it's not, making friends is not something that someone should be afraid of. But at the same time, there are a lot of people, out there who've been hurt systemically and individually by other people who need and value their personal space, but they still feel like they have to do some militance, because they see how everything is basically ruined in this right wing world of ours, I suppose. So, in a way, that's understandable too, if you know what I mean. I don't know. I don't know if I'm, talking out of my butt as usual. But it's been going through my head a lot, trying to understand, because I'm this type of person who is always like make as many friends as possible, because when everybody's friends, things are easier as a general, rule of thumb. And for me, it's like even when I don't feel most of the time, like being out there. I know I have to be out there. So, and in a way, for me, making friendships and even, alliances, but alliances are like a second best to friendship. Is one of those things that takes us away from this neoliberal isolation that we've been going through. And for someone with my personality, it kind of hurts. But I want to understand people who don't want to make friends in militant spaces. So I wanna understand that position, and that's why I kind of wanted to have a conversation with someone, but didn't work out for whatever reason. Like if you're not super aggressive towards people, people are not gonna respond. If you don't nag people, and I don't like nagging people. If you want to come have a conversation with me, that's cool. I guess it's easier when you have the cloud and you've been obedient to the algorithm and you've done, all the bullshit. I'm not gonna do the bullshit. I want to do the talk, and I want to walk the walk, if you know what I mean. At any rate, I think, it is something that you need to respect with some of those people, most of those people. Say, those people who are not all of the people who exist in militant spaces that they want to keep to themselves. I'm wondering if that is a contradiction to the leftist ideal of unity, of, let's say, yeah, I would say unity, of togetherness that is totally, against the neoliberal idea of isolation and individualism and, everyone on their own. So it is complicated. Like, I understand that there will be people who have been, who are vulnerable because of circumstances, and now they want to keep to themselves and respect their personal space while trying to accomplish something in the curriculum, and but I don't know. If we had like more people in chat that could weigh in, that would be fantastic. It's like I would say rule of thumb. You work better with people who are friendly to you, and I say friendly, not necessarily best friends or whatever. Friendly enough. So you cut through the rough edges of the political struggle with some of the softness, of the kindness, of the amicability, of being friendly with the people that you work with. And for me, that's a no-brainer. But at the same time, I want to understand, people who feel more vulnerable because of systemic issues, who are angry, and understandably with all the right to be angry in the world. It's like I wanna pick up your anger, and make it together into a weapon against the oppression that we're all going through, in more or less degrees, because this is not a competition, right? This is not a competition. This is not the oppression Olympics that everybody likes to talk about so much. So at the same time, as much as I understand, what these people are going through, right? Um, it is a complicated thing, to say the least. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know what you think. You can leave me a comment or something, and we can talk about it. Well, I'd like to start this conversation. If you want to be in the future trying to get more in depth with some of this, because it's something that has come up recently in some of my activist spaces, and it's got me worried. Like, you know, you can work with people, of course. It happens at work as well. When you're ambient in the office, right? Or whatever your milieu is, in the office, in the space where you work, in your workshop, or in your the construction site where you're working it, or you know the workplace can be a very hostile place sometimes. Can be very, you know yeah, it can be very hostile in so many ways. So I think activist spaces can become like a little bit hostile as well. Hello, Riandis, how you doing? We're talking about about this attitude, this very valid position of I'm not into politics to make friends, but to get shit done. And I'm arguing a little bit with myself, but if you want to weigh in into this, the intricacies of this, like for me, personally, I think that we should keep our spaces as friendly and as approachable as possible, because the work itself is hard enough to be at each other's throats. At the same time, it is true that there are some toxic elements that come into activist spaces from, say, learned practices that you don't notice you do, but they're awful to oppress people. Like sometimes, when you say some ableist word without noticing, or when you discuss from a place of patriarchal privilege, or when one, I don't know, talks, with a from the comfort of the quote unquote whiteness, of things. And you can get people of color, or people with disabilities, or you can get, people with who are more challenged by the system, right? You can make them angry and alienate them, which is unfair. But at the same time, it's like how you fix that when it happens. You got to support the people who are oppressed by trying being as friendly as possible. Yeah, I like you. You like making friends and think it's good to stay friendly, but in this system, we need to focus on the main goal. Absolutely. I mean, but I absolutely agree with you with that. We need to focus on the main goal, but at the same time, I also think we're gonna be much more efficient if we work in a friendly environment. Like you know and at the same time, one can walk and chew gum as well. And it is also very true that we all are angry, that we need to manage our anger and make it into a weapon that gives us energy, make it into something that gives us the energy to struggle even harder. Like there's this very famous slogan from the 90s, the activism from the 90s that was in Spanish, organiza tu rabia, organize your anger. That I think it's very, I think it hits right on the spot, right? It really hits home. Like, of course we're angry. It is not bad to be angry. We just need to grab that anger and put it to work. You know what I'm saying? And at the same time, what do we owe our comrades but our absolute kindness, right? So we can be hard as rocks against the fascists and the oppression, which is most important, right? Our problem is not with people; it's always with the system, with systems in general. We need to be worried about how to fix things and how to make the world better. That's our goal as leftists, right? And as activists, how to make things. But again, that is my position. But I understand, people who don't want to get to vulnerable places, or who come very angry and tired already to the space, to actually make an extra effort, to get some emotional labor to appease their comrades. And it is very understandable, and I think it's the work from, those of us who still have a little bit of strength to comfort them instead, and say, hey, we're here for you. But at the same time, it is very tricky, trying to figure out how to balance those two very valid positions, and even some things, everything in between. Yeah, no, absolutely. Bigoted leftists are not leftists the way I see it, you know what I mean? Like for me, I mean, it is different, to be an active bigot, to get, to shit on someone because you can and you just do it. It's not, for me, it's not the same to be an active bigot than having been indoctrinated in some type of bigotry that we all are, from our language to our way of being to our way of thinking. We've been educated with pro-militaristic or propaganda from Hollywood, and our language and our street education, even, it's made on, who is strongest and who is the toughest and of all. It's all about dominance and competition. So it is understandable that some of that seeps through, and some of that shit goes, like, inadvertently into our programming, and we slip. For me, it's not the same as being actively bigoted, as going like, they took our jobs type of thing, right? Like, you fucking migrant, you taking other people's jobs. And it's like, okay, fuck off. You're not a leftist, right? But at the same time, you go like, yeah, there's nothing wrong, in that area, because you haven't seen it. That's a slip that it's easily correctable by saying, yo, there is a problem there. That you don't have a problem there doesn't mean there's not a problem there. And if that person is, actually comrade, they would go like, whoops, yep. Now that you say it, I don't know if I'm making sense. I hope so. That you point out, the shit, and go like, what in what the hell, what the heck, hold your horses. But I don't know. I hope I am making sense in this debate. But as much as I understand, people who want to leave their friendship like separate from their activist spaces, I really want activist spaces to be as friendly, as warm, and as welcoming to everybody as possible, even from the knowledge that we cannot make it those spaces as friendly and as welcoming as we would like them to be, and dealing with infiltrates or chuds, absolute chuds who become confrontational, who get into a cornered position, and you know for me, coming into an active space, like off the bat, you need to come with humility, and instead of saying I have to say this and that and that and this and I want to impose this, it's like how can I help? For me, that's but it's a personal opinion. This, okay, it's because I'm trying to understand people who say these sentences, right? I'm not here to make friends. For me, it's difficult. I'm a sensitive, depressed old man who is not manly in a patriarchal sense that you gotta be callous and strong and not care about things. I kind of care about things. So for me, a comrade who I admire and respect, who says, "I'm not here to make friends," it's a little bit like, "Hola Del Ru, welcome, welcome." For me, it's a little bit like Ben Shapiro saying, "Yeah, facts don't care about your feelings." And it's like, but life is also made of feelings, whether you like it or not, right? So it's a delicate balance. I'm trying to put myself in the. No, it's in general, okay. It's a case study. It's not a public thing. So, but I want to understand that position and say, how can I help? And in most of those cases, when what I decide to do in those cases is I just shut up and get out of the way. But I feel like there's a little bit of a lost opportunity to make the space a little bit welcoming. No worries, Riendis, no worries. It's just but in general, I probably you all have heard that in your activist spaces, if you've been to activist spaces, you know it, or at your workplace again, people who want to separate their personal life from their work life, and at some point it's a healthy thing, but at the other hand, you get to spend 8 or more hours a day, um, yeah, in your workplace. So you spend a lot of, a very miserable life if you don't have friends there, if you don't have, if your environment is not friendly, is not welcoming, you know, then your mental health can really suffer, if you know what I mean. Um, I wanted to pull more people into this conversation. To be honest, this is something that grants more a debate than a one person chat. If you know what I'm saying. But I'm still reading y'all. So if you feel like weighing in into these principles, I'm reading your thoughts in the chat, and you know what, I'm always trying to engage with your thoughts as charitably and as hopefully well, considering that this is not a very balanced relationship here, y'all in the chat and me just talking out of my mouth. That's not cool. So I'll try to compensate for that, okay? I don't know. I hope it's making sense what I'm saying. I hope I'm making sense, and I'm really sure that what y'all can say has much more sense than what I'm saying right now. But for me, it's not violent, okay? Because it's not that big a deal. But I feel like there's a lost opportunity when somebody says, I'm not here to make friends. And it's like, why not? You can chew gum and walk at the same time, right? I use this phrase again, but I think it's a wonderful way of putting it. My famous "why not both" that I keep hammering on all the time. Like, why not both, right? So I wanted to put it out there, and I want to understand that the place where these people come, and I like to think that that is a place of vulnerability and of anger, the understandable anger of people who are oppressed by the system. But I don't know how healthy it is to take out that anger on your comrades instead of the systems that oppress us, right? Again, this is mostly speculation. I'm just trying to understand some other people's point of view, and that is quite the exercise. I've been going through this, for a while in my mind. We worked for a company owned by Trump supporters, and it had a toxic culture. Couldn't make friends there because they were actively working against me. Absolutely, that's not a healthy workplace. I hear you completely, Riandis. That's not a healthy workplace for anybody. That's not cool. That's not cool. But then again, you spend like a lot of hours there. So, yeah, I don't think you're gonna radicalize any Trump supporters or whatever. I don't think every worker there would be that far right. And if so, why did they bother hiring you in the first place? But I understand. And again, a workplace is kind of similar in a way that, yeah, in active spaces and church, you've made some of your best friends. Yeah, I made very good friends in active spaces, to be honest. Mostly, in my youth when you used to do it in person. Right now, we're on Zoom calls, and I'm doing a lot of homework all day, reading articles and listening to videos and doing courses and whatnot. Courses that if you want the diploma, you gotta pay. It's like, it's fine. I got my knowledge. I don't need the diploma. Then I kind of regret it because it's probably good for getting a job or whatever. But yeah, if you know what I'm saying, it was um, it was quite it's a very difficult conundrum. I understand the anger of people. I understand that people express themselves in anger against the systems that oppress us all. I'm the first one, to go overboard in being angry at the cops, the dirty politicians, the company owners, the bourgeoisie, all the way. Like, yeah, get that crab emoji when Orange Man gets sick. But at the same time, do we owe that anger to our comrades? I mean, I understand that you're not there to make friends. I get it. You're probably happy with the friends that you have. The way I see it, again, and this is personal, okay? Uh, oh, you were hired by old management. She was a liberal. Then they fired her for when they tried to push me out. Pieces of shit. They were bullying you out of your job. Oh man, that sucks. That sucks. That sucks. And of course, living in the United States, there's no way, no place that you can go to get like I'm bullied at work. This is happening, right? Because here in Spain we have a figure called acoso laboral, and if you can put it on paper, you can get a lawyer. You can get a compensation and protection and whatnot. I don't think that's a thing in the United States, isn't it? I don't think it is. But let me know. It sucks. I feel for you. That has to be a very toxic situation. And I'm glad you're strong, that you're pushed through that shit. Definitely glad for you. For me, the way I see it is like we owe our comrades all of our love and respect. We don't have to be best friends or whatever, but we owe friendliness to each other, and we can be as angry as we want to the system. But people who lash out at other comrades, it's for me. I mean, call me weak or sensitive, but for me, it's a deal breaker, if you know what I mean. We have Reagan to thank for no workers' rights. Yeah, Reagan Thatcher era was painful to watch and painful to live through. To be honest, we suffered our deal under neoliberalism, but I guess those of us who are lucky enough to be in Europe, we didn't suffer that much. Still, Spain going into the European Union, we had to suffer deindustrialization, like what we call reconversión industrial, which is industrial reconversion theoretically, which is basically shut down most of the production lines and most of the industry to give the let's say the high tech and the specialities of the biggest products of industrial production. Most exports go to basically Germany and a little bit of France, and the rest of the countries we need to be basically gardeners and waiters. We're the holiday place where all the rich Europeans go for their rich European holidays, on the cheap, to get wasted because of cheap alcohol and cheap hotels and cheap service that they can shit on. It is really bad, the way the European Union is structured right now, and the neoliberal regimes that operate there, that we're trying to change. One of the groups I am in, it's a task force for DiEM21, feminism and diversity, and they're really good people. I'm a little bit, I feel a little bit of the imposter syndrome, considering the people there have a huge level, both academic and professional and whatnot, and I'm this poor unemployed old, not so intelligent, musician from Spain who has a big depression and is not good for anything. I don't know. They're fantastic people. They're gonna get a lot of work done. Hopefully, I'm gonna help a little bit, but I feel a lot of imposter syndrome, to be honest. The level of those people, and yeah, they're very professional people. I'm an unprofessional man. I'm a husk of an artist, I guess. But again, I understand, that people are angry and people have all the right in the world to be angry. Just, throw it out there into the air, not to your comrades. That's the way I see it. You get imposter syndrome sometimes? Damn. What situations do you get imposter syndrome sometimes? I don't really know you, but I hear you there. I feel you with my heart. Shit. It's complicated. It's complicated. Anyway, I wanted to talk about this. So from now on, it's gonna be a chill stream.